All right, today we're hitting legs and we're taking all the hardest things you can do and putting it into one workout. So if you have trouble growing those legs, this will fix that. If you've ever had somebody tell you to go fuck yourself and you sat there and wondered, God, what does that even look like? This is what that looks like. All right, so we're starting off with the barbell split squat. Now, we're gonna have to do a couple sets, just body weight, just to get everything warmed up. But then when we get into it, we're gonna make a couple tweaks to make it that much harder. First, because I want this to be more of a quad-dominated movement, I'm gonna slightly lean forward, putting more pressure on that quad. And then we're also gonna slow it down so we can really focus on getting a nice deep stretch, but also controlling that contraction, making sure we're flexing up, driving through that heel. Finally, we're gonna open up that quad to give it more room to work, because if you stay straight in line, you're gonna end up laying on that quad, and yeah, it's still a good movement, but we wanna open it up and feel like you're pulling yourself off the ground. Couple quick notes on that one. First, you can tell by driving that knee out, you're pulling more in that medialis. If you want to hit more of that lateralis, just keep that leg straight. Just got to be careful not to bounce off of your leg and actually use your stomach to drive you up. Second thing is, just like all the quad things I talk about, don't come all the way up. Make sure you're contracting the way up, stopping, pausing, flexing, and then back down. On a day like this, you're going to want one of these. All right, next horrible idea, we're gonna do some high rep sets on stiff legs. Now, I am gonna use straps, not because it's heavy, but because I wanna be able to let that weight drift forward and pull it back up without thinking about just gripping on, just barely holding on to these. These work pretty damn well, and just pulling from those hamstrings. Also, when I get done with my set, I can annoy the shit out of the person next to me. And to put even more stress on those hamstrings, you're gonna let that bar drift forward, but to keep that bar path the same, straight up and down, you're gonna drive those hips back at the same time. So it's gonna be an extreme stretch on those hamstrings and slowly contract it up. So it'll feel like you're drifting forward, but because those hips are dropping back and you're stretching those hamstrings more, it's gonna be straight up and down. And this is another exercise, you're gonna get more out of it by not locking it out, because you're gonna contract through those hamstrings into those glutes. And then if you go any higher, then you're driving into that lower back, or you're gonna be that one person who drives it all the way back, and I don't know what you're doing with your life. Next up, we're doing old school hip thrust off the floor, but we're doing them a little bit different. The way I normally do these is almost as if I think the size of my junk is correlated to how much I can hump off the floor, and it ends up looking cool. The bar bends and it just smashes on the ground, makes a lot of noise, people get freaked out, but the bar almost cuts you in half, even with these nice pads that feel like they take some of the tension off. It feels like you're getting sawed in half by the bar. So we're gonna intensify it in a different way. First thing is, I'm gonna go so disgustingly slow that 225 is gonna feel heavy. Also, I'm treating this movement like an abductor to really contract those glutes even more. So I start out by slightly turning out those toes and making sure during the negative part of the movement, those knees stay in line with those toes. But as I contract up, I'm opening up those hips, driving those knees out, and just blowing that ass out in a non-Mexican food kind of way. All right, let's ruin our life in the last set. So we're gonna do front squat and then right into walking lunges. Now the front squat, feet are nice and close, toes turned out, driving those knees out. I mean, it's light, it's 135, but still could kill me at this point. So since this is a full leg day, all 3 sets of lunges are gonna be different. The first one's more quad dominant. So it's a shorter step. You're gonna let that knee drift over your toe, unless you've had 7 knee surgeries, don't do that. If you haven't, you're good to go. Let it drift over your toe and then come up about 3/4 way, maybe even halfway, just to keep that tension on the quad. Next set, it's your entire leg. So you wanna step out to where you're about 90 degrees, and you can drive equally from that quad hamstring glute all the way through. And the last one, I really want you to reach out with that, because I want you to feel like you're pulling yourself up with your hamstring, and you're gonna drag that back leg to get up. Couple things to note. First, I caught my ass winking at you in a couple of those front squat reps, so make sure you don't let that butt tuck underneath like I did. I've just trained my back to be so strong that it just disregards my feelings altogether. And because I know I'm gonna get 175 emails on this, I'm gonna put the link to this pad, these straps, and this Mongo-sized water bottle. Probably won't be affiliate links because you guys know I don't have time for that. Here's the link to one of my other favorite leg videos. Also, just another one of my favorites in general. And then make sure, and most importantly, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And as always, get after it, get growing. Talk to you soon.